What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Smooth Conversations. I am your host, DJ D Smooth, and I got a very, very special guest with me today. It is Dorie Olds. How you doing today there, Dorie?
I am doing great. It's
Amazing.
great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you made it. You're so busy, and I know you're involved in a lot of things, so I really appreciate you taking the time aside. That means a lot to me. So tell me, Dorie, for those who don't know you, what do you specialize in, and how long have you been doing it for?
Well, I have a wellness center, so I have a number of different modalities, and I do hypnosis, and I do Reiki, and I do lymphatic massage, which is very specific for health, and then I have other things I do too. So I have a medical device, I have a nutritional line.
Yes.
I have all kinds of things. But I started in 1997 with Reiki, and then step by step, I just added more tools in my tool bag.
Very cool. Now, I've been to your office there before, and I tried the machine that you have, and I feel like my life changed in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, it's the Avicen, and it is very, very amazing. Yes, it's an amazing technology.
Awesome. So that's just one of the services you provide.
That's just one.
Ooh,
Yes.
and that one was already life changing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Dorie, where are you from? Like, did you grow up here in Utah?
I did. I grew up in Sugar House, went to Highland High, and actually close to where I lived, close to where Ben's gym is. But,
Okay.
I'm in that Sugar House area, and I loved it, and it was a great life or experience, and you know your neighbors. I had several mothers in the different houses around the neighborhood.
Yes.
that my friends lived at, and it was like having multiple mothers and multiple families. But yeah, so it was good.
And I like asking that question. Like, for those who are from Utah, you've seen a lot of growth. I mean, I moved here 9 years ago, and even the time I've been here to now, it's grown so much.
Yes.
What's it been like in your eyes, seeing that you were born here to where we are today?
Well, there's a lot more buildings than there were.
Yes.
And there's a lot more traffic, so you have to. Used to be you could get places faster. Now you have to spend more time getting there. But it's good. And one of the reasons, it's because Utah's been listed as the best economy for multiple years, and I think people are wanting to move here for that reason. But there's a lot of building, a lot of change in the landscape, definitely. And some businesses that I loved and liked a lot, or like going to, are gone, and new ones have been added. And it's just that, like anywhere else, it's constantly changing.
Makes sense. So let me ask her, you're involved in a few communities as far as like chambers of commerce. I would like for you to kind of deep dive more into what you're involved with and how long you've been doing those for, like what's kind of your roles and what inspires you to even want to do these things in the first place.
Well, I love to be involved. I love to help community. It's also good for business because I've been in business since 1997. So I've been doing
congratulations.
business a long time.
Amazing.
And I had a group practice that ended in 2020, and when I started in 2020 with the new business, I started back to my own practice. I had my own practice in 1997, group practice for over 20 years, and now I have my own practice again. I wanted to get more involved, and so I started with Mill Creek City. I started there and began attending their network meetings, ended up becoming the chair, ended up being on the Mill Creek Business Council, so I did that for about 3 years.
Very cool.
And then I also was involved with the Murray Chamber, and I've been doing Murray Chamber since about 2018. So I started that before Mill Creek. And right now my business is in Murray, and my home is in Mill Creek, and so I have both interest in both places.
Yes.
And I've been involved with the Murray City and the Murray Chamber, and then I became an ambassador for Murray Chamber, and now I'm on their board.
Okay.
And so I've been on their board for almost a year. So
congrats. That's amazing.
It's been a while. And I'm trying to think if I'm saying that. I have to look back. Maybe I'm getting the math wrong, but it's great to get involved. You're behind the scenes. You really can help in seeing what's needed, and then you get involved in the activities. You get to know people. It's a great way to support business, but it's also great to be involved. And then I also am part of a global organization called Connecting Consciousness. I've been involved with that since about 2014.
Wow.
And that is a spiritual organization, humanitarian. And I got, about 3 years ago, I got put in as a leader there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to, as a leader, I'm the community service organizer. So I am required to have one service project every single month. That's a lot to organize every month for the group.
Yeah.
There's about 900 members in Utah organized. And so because I'm involved with the different groups, then I hear about projects. I hear about either donations, needing donations for certain things, or what projects are being are needing to do. I've helped. Our group helped move the garden there was a garden that was elementary that shut down. They had a garden there. We moved the garden across the street to a daycare, and that was a big job of moving the boxes and the dirt and the plants, and we helped with that. It was over 3 weekends. But I hear about the different projects because I'm involved,
right.
And then I can bring those projects to the group that I'm in, that's part of what we do, is that community service.
That's amazing.
So.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Wow, what a resume. That is cool.
So.
Well, I'm pretty fascinated for one of the reasons that you brought up. You've been in business since the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's huge. Like, please tell us what's some of the keys to, or what's some of the secrets to staying in business for so long?
Persistence and tenacity. And because you burn your bridges, and so there's no other choice. That's what you do. Mm-hmm. But I actually started because I got divorced very young. I was not that young, but my kids were young, and I needed to go to work. And I had 4 kids. Oldest was 5, and so to pay for daycare, that's a lot of money each day. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have someone else take care of my kids all day. And so I had to come up with ways to earn money in my home. Mm-hmm. So that's what it started, and that was in the 80s. And so I started first. I thought, well, I'm home with 4 children. I'm going to do daycare, so then I'll just tend kids. And so I had other families bring their kids to me, and I did daycare.
Amazing.
Then I also did some sewing. I did some cooking, did ironing. I did a whole bunch of stuff that I could do in my home. That's how it started.
Yes.
And then as I was on my own healing journey, that's when I was introduced to Reiki in 1997. As I started learning that, I thought, oh, I can do this for other people. And that's where it started. And it really is, what do you want? What are you willing to do to have it? And it is that tenacity, and it is that just every day you get up and you go do that. And I had done things where with that business, I was doing it weekends and evenings and weekends. I had a day job at that point, and then I was doing my day job, and that I kept having the feeling that I needed to go full time. And then one day I got a call, New Year's Day. I got a call, we're out of business. You're laid off because there's no business. Wow. And so I thought, because of those thoughts I was having, those reflections, what do I do? I thought, okay, I'm going to just stay. I'm not going to get another quote a regular job. I'm going to just do this. But then I have had times where I would supplement. I'd clean houses. I would do other things to supplement when there were those lean days. Sometimes there's lean times.
Yes.
And you just do what you do to stay in business, and you keep going. But a lot of it is just that passion in your heart. Right. It's that I did a radio show in 2018 called Trusting Your Soul. Okay. And so it's like, how do you trust your soul? How do you know? It's that intuition, listening. And when you have those passions, you just do it. That makes sense. You figure out what else you need to do with, because sometimes we got to keep our day job. Sometimes we have to work around what we need to do to have that money coming in. But I kept going with that main focus, and I'm still going with it. So wow. But there have been ups and downs. I mean, I've been through 2001, been through 2008. Yes. And now we're having some interesting times right now with the economy. So it's you just do what you got to do and keep going, because it matters. There's that that passion in your soul. There's that passion to
That's
do
amazing.
It. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you're so impressive. So let me ask there. So like, is that a passion that you installed yourself? Did your parents grow up entrepreneurial mindset, or did something that you were like the first of your family to break that?
I was my brother did somewhat, because he was a graphic artist. So he worked for someone else, but then he also did on the side. So we kind of did. But I started that process. Amazing. And I have a brother-in-law that's also started his own business. But I was told all growing up, get a regular job. Do not work for yourself. Get a regular job. And I had 2 grandparents, both on both sides of my family, that weathered the depression.
Yeah.
And it was hard. They lost land. They lost some of the things. It was hard because they were self-employed. And I think there's some hard times with it rather than being an employer. But I think there's hard things with being an employee, because sometimes you're not promoted. Sometimes you don't get the pay. There's struggles in each place.
Yeah.
And you just find what is best for you. But growing up, it was like, never do that, never do that, never do that. And when I ended up with having to work with 4 kids, it's like, this is my option, because I'm not going to be taking a large chunk of my income to pay for daycare. It's like, I'm just not going to do that. So that's where I jumped into that, and I've just been there ever since. I haven't had a regular job since 1999.
What? So, how does that feel?
There's a lot of freedom. There's
yes.
You get the risk of it or the stress of it. You just kind of get used to it, because it's not this paycheck that you can count on a certain amount of money each and every day. That's what I'm working on, is getting that more in that steady place. But there's a freedom. You have your own schedule, and I can really follow a lot that intuition, because that's where I live my life from, is that intuition. What do I need to be today?
Right.
What do I need to do? And I don't necessarily need to go to someone and say, I need to go here. Can I take the day off? Can I need to go here? Can I do this? Because I'm the one in charge of my own schedule. But there is a feeling sometimes of jumping without a parachute.
Okay, I feel that. Yeah.
But you get used to it.
For sure.
And you get used to that feeling, and then there's constant, what do I need? What systems do I need to set up? And what things I need to do? And it's constantly changing, because the environment's constantly changing.
Yes.
And what worked a year ago may not be working right now.
Valid.
And so you have that, you're doing that. But it's exhilarating and it's exciting, and the payoff is huge, because you're really doing what feels good, what really feels good. And you just made that jump, right?
I did, actually.
But there's a feeling of there's a joy, and then there's part of this oh no, okay,
right.
But you keep going, and you get those systems in place, and you just keep talking to people and getting those referrals, and getting the people that those that could use what you have. And there is an adrenaline to it. It's satisfying. There's a satisfaction when you go to bed at night and going, this is what I did today.
I love that. And I got to bring it up, because you're right. It's that tenacity. I feel like I just left my full-time job 3 weeks ago now, and I got another text today asking if I was still interested in coming back for a different opportunity in the same industry. And it's like, no, not right now. That's not my plan. My plan and my passion is to drive the DJ business and focus on, my gifts and talents that I feel like were given to me. So yeah, it is. I feel exactly what you're talking about, where it's like that tenacity to say no, first of all, but also like, no, I'm really am following my dreams. I appreciate the opportunity, but that's not for me.
Yeah. And if you need to, for short term, do some things, you bring in money, you do those, but you're not going back to that full-time commitment. And that's what it takes, is a commitment. And it's like, no, not there, not doing that.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Now, I want to go into your hypnosis. Please, let's talk about
Let's talk about hypnosis.
Let's talk about hypnosis. I think it's very fascinating. You're the first person I actually met that did hypnosis. And I'm always curious, because I don't really understand. And I'm pretty sure some of our listeners may not understand as well. But like, what is hypnosis, and what can it do for, let's say, me, if I'm thinking about hypnosis for my life?
Hypnosis for your life?
Yeah.
And so what are the pain points in your life?
Okay.
And as just as we were been talking about your journey, what I would do for you is talk about what your dreams are, what you want to be doing, and maybe do sessions around eliminating the fears and the doubt. That's what isn't getting in your way, and then putting in that, enhancing the passion you have, enhancing that each and every day. You're seeing the opportunities, you're taking the inspired action. That's the kind of session I would do. And so what we have is we have a conscious mind, which helps us with everyday actions, that helps us navigate the world, and that's logical and it makes sense. And then our subconscious mind is illogical, and it's where our emotions reside, And it's where our dreams and our passions reside also too, in that subconscious mind.
Okay.
And there's things in there. It's our operating system. So
Yes.
you have a phone that has an operating system, or we have Windows, which over the years they'll have different reports on. Well, this is Windows 7, and this is the glitches, and these are the good things. And so what we have an operating system that has the good programming that helps us, and then we have those things that are glitches, those things that are getting in our way, those things that are making us hesitate, take self-doubt. And so what hypnosis is about enhancing those things that are working for you and eliminating those things that aren't. Because in a hypnotic state, you've got beta, the brainwave states of beta, alpha, theta, delta. If we're in beta, we're walking around doing things and we're doing our job, we're in beta. We get on the computer, we start watching a movie, we may be driving on the highway or the freeway. We go into that alpha state, and that's an automatic hypnotic state. And so we do things in that state. Like if you were on the computer and one of your children was saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," and then finally they grab your arm, and it's like, "Why aren't you listening to me?" And you're like, "What? I didn't know you were there."
Right.
Because you're in a deeper hypnotic state while you're on the computer. You focused inward, you focused in, not the outside world went away. You focused in. Then the ears were still working, but you weren't hearing because you were focused in, because you're focusing on the computer screen, or you're focusing on writing something, or maybe doing your music or other things. We get into that focused state, which is a trance state, which is the place where that hypnosis happens. Hypnosis is simply working with that trance state for a specific purpose. And so one of the things I tell people, my job isn't necessarily to hypnotize you, it's to de-hypnotize you, because we have been hypnotized in so many places that we don't even know. So if someone comes up to you, let's say, I'm just going to use your kid as an example, your child, and say, "Daddy, I'm not good at school." Now, I don't know if this happens, but let's just pretend. And was he born with that idea?
No.
That was something that happened, that maybe a teacher said something to them, or maybe his friends teased him, or maybe he didn't pass a test really well. He decided that he wasn't good at school. And because of that decision, that goes in that subconscious mind, and that subconscious mind starts supporting that. And so that becomes more and more, it becomes strengthened, gets stronger. If he continues to tell that story about not being good at school, then he becomes worse and worse, because he's hypnotized himself. And I've had people that have had children, I've had adults too, who have had that idea come into my sessions, and they come out feeling good about themselves, having a better, less test anxiety, and they're actually doing better in class because they've made a different decision, saying, "Oh, I've decided I am now good at school," and that starts exhibiting in a different way. So we have all these ideas or these stories about ourselves that the program's running, that we support through our self-talk, that get deeper and deeper if we can keep reinforcing that, or we can change it, and we can do some things can be done on our own by just our talking to ourselves or just deciding, but some things we need someone who can facilitate, that's subjective on our behalf, that isn't maybe it's objective. I hope I've got the right word, but it's where that's going to see things from a bigger picture, a better perspective. That's not going to have the bias that we have for ourselves.
Yes.
And see things in a different way. And that's why you have the facilitation of someone coming in and working with you in the area. And I know I have just learned to trust. I have a strong connection with source. I have a strong connection, my intuition, and I'll ask, and I'll say, "Okay, show me what this person needs," and it'll come to me, and I'll tell them something, and like, "How did you know that?" Well, I didn't know it until I was told.
Yes.
But I love that, because I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to know anything. I don't have to have this great magic or whatever it is. But but we all have those intuitions that come into us, and when we practice, we get them more and more, and I can be with someone and understand, okay, this is what we need to work on. And they may come in with something else, but it's like, no, this is the thing that needs to happen today. And that's what ends up happening. But it gets shown, when I ask, it'll get shown to me what it is that they need.
That's brilliant.
And so I love it, because I get really good results that way.
Yeah.
But it's just simply listening. It's just simply listening to the client, but also listening to spirit and saying, what could this person use?
Yeah.
So I love that.
I got a question there, because that to me is inspiring. First of all, that you're willing to help someone become a winner. where was Dorie winning? Because it has to add up. Dorie had to be winning in her life. Well, you've been winning since the 90s. You told me the 80s technically. But like, where did that like drive for helping others become winners come from? I mean, that's what I'm hearing right now.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a secret, which I don't tell everybody. I've had some great mentors that are out of body, off planet. I'll just put it that way. And one of the things that I was coached in was like, who is helping people really be here for what they came here for. It's like, who are they? It's like we have those questions that we ask. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And then the last question, which not everyone knows to ask, is where do I want to go? Because it's not just where someone else is telling you to go, or where I think I should go, or where everyone else is going. It's where do I really want to go? And a lot of that times it's out of the box place. But it's really, my goal is to really help people be that divine of who they are, what they came to express, what did they come to, what was their destiny, what is their gifts and talents that they came to express and help other people, because each one of us have come here to help other people. That is the big plan. Each of us are here to help other people, whether it's in a business, whether it's being a mother or dad, whether it's being just a loving person and just helping people, smiling at people and giving them positive feedback. We're all here to help. And so my focus for a lot of years is helping each person find that for themselves. What am I here for? And then be able to express that. And the different tools I have really can enhance that journey and help them find their way. And I know we did some sessions where it's like, what is your dream? And you ended up expanding your dream bigger than you thought, because I gave you the space for that. It's like, 100%. Let's talk about that. Let's give you homework and said, I really want you to think about this. And you expanded that dream bigger than it was. And that's when I said, okay, I did my job, because you are more aware of what it is really that you're wanting. And I've seen you since those sessions, you've expanded, and now you've walked away from that, what wasn't working, and now you're getting more and more into what is working on your path. That's my job right there, helping people get on their path.
Let me cry.
What are they here for? That's my job. That's what I'm here for.
Wow.
And it's body, mind, spirit. It's all three. And it's helping people get in alignment with that, and then being on that path and doing it, and then learning how to do that.
That is amazing.
So I've had that mission, I guess. I don't know if that's the right statement.
That's a perfect statement.
Since the 1990s, I've had that. Because that's what I've been helped to have, and that's what I want to help other people have.
Yes. I love that. Now, that was deep. Wow. Thank you. Listeners, please, I hope y'all taking notes. This is amazing. What a conversation. Now, your slogan. We got to jump into that, because I think it is brilliant with a capital B. If you want to change your story, call Dorie. Mm-hmm. Please tell me about that slogan. Where did it come from? And like, that's all. Just tell me where did that come from? That's amazing.
So I was on Zoom. So it was during the COVID, and in a Connect Utah meeting on Zoom, and we went into a breakout group, and we were talking about slogans. What are we going to do? What slogans do we want? And I was writing some things down. I'm like, what do I want for what do I even do? I was just kind of floundering. Wasn't really knowing. And the other people were kind of having ideas, and all of us were talking about it. And then it was just something that was given to me. It came into my mind. Oh, this is my slogan. And it was right there. And I thought, okay, but I know it didn't come from me. I know it was given to me. It's like, here's your slogan. There you go. Because I get lots of help.
Yes.
But I've used it ever since. But that's where it came from. It wasn't anything I figured out. It was just in my mind, and I thought, that's what I'm going to use. That's the one I'm going to have.
I love it. Can we hear you say it live for us?
When you want to change your story, call Dorie.
Let's go. That's
and
amazing.
I love that, because that really is. It really is about changing our story, and it just resonated with me. And I loved it, and I thought, I'm going to start using that in everything, and that's what I do. I help people change their stories.
That's amazing.
And I facilitate them changing their own story. I'm not changing their story. They're changing their story. But I'm bringing in ideas. I'm bringing in clearing. I'm releasing some of the emotions that are around the past, but they're the ones doing the change. And I'm just facilitating that process. But
now, you told me this, and I'm thinking of it like from a sports athlete perspective, right? Athletes, they can be healthy. Some of them can't be healthy. And when you're not healthy, you typically get in your own head about things, about when can I get back out there on the field to play with my brothers or my sisters, or I gotta go through rehab to get back to 100%. Otherwise, I can't play or move on to the next level. Whatever they got planned, the story in their head, it's basically them hypnotizing themselves.
Yes.
So when you're working with athletes to overcome the adversity that they may have went through because of like an injury or something, like what's kind of like your process working with them?
Well, it's interesting because I was not an athlete. I mean, I played a little bit, did gym and high school. I mean, did things, played basketball and volleyball and things, but I'm not really an athletic person. And so when you have, as a hypnotist, I'm a general practitioner, meaning I'm doing a lot of different, I'm not focusing on one area, I'm doing a lot of different areas, like a family practitioner doctor. You're addressing a lot of things. And I remember having someone come in that wanted help with their athletic abilities. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm talking to this person. I'm doing a consultation. I've never done this kind of session before, because you always have first time, right?
Yeah,
There's always
for
a
sure.
first time.
Always.
And I was sitting with them talking, and suddenly I just like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to help them. I know what I need to do with this. And so I started similar. It's like, what is that? What's that zone? What is that place that you want to be in? What is the result you want? And as I started telling me, then I could reframe it. I could tell it back to them. I would, through the hypnosis, release what's in the way, or release past failures, or release places where they're doubting. The same place, and it's similar with most people. And then I just started reframing it for them and going through that sport. This is what's happening now. This is what's happening, and now you're doing this, and you're now in a way that was exactly what they wanted. And it really it was working, and it started working for a lot of people. And I have worked with NBA. I had one Olympic skier that won a medal that was quite amazing. I love that because I had never worked with a skier before.
Yeah.
And then I've had a lot of rodeo, which is interesting. I don't even, it's like things happen, and it just goes. It was working with the University of Wyoming rodeo team. And they had great success, and I had a bunch of rodeo people coming in. Who knew? Who knew that the hypnosis would work with rodeo? Yes. And so it's amazing that when you listen, and then I just start getting those images in my mind of what they need. And so I love working with athletes. I know how to help them, and it's to say why I know how that I can't tell you. I just know that I know.
Yes, you know the pain points,
and
you know
I
how
know,
to treat it. Yes.
And helping them reframe that and help them get out of the hesitations, the self-doubt, this other place like we've already mentioned. That's a lot of what gets in the way. And when you take those out, they start playing beautifully, and they love it. The only challenge I have with athletes is that they don't want to tell anyone else what they're doing because they want to keep their edge.
For sure.
So I don't have a lot of result with referrals from athletes to the rodeo. I did, but the others They don't tell their friends.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah, kind of keep the injury on the quiet.
Themselves.
Yeah.
But I love it. And right now I'm on I'm in the Salt Lake area. I'm in the Cottonwood High School wrestling team, the official hypnotist. So I love that.
Amazing. Let's go.
So I want to do more. I want to help other teams. So that would be one on my bucket list, is to help athletes, because I know I can. I know I can do that, and I know I can help them.
That's amazing. Let me ask, is there a wrestling coach? Isaac, yeah, Isaac. Yes, okay, yeah. I got it.
He was the one that asked me, and I feel so privileged, yes.
Sorry, it took me a while to think.
Yeah, he's the coach of the team, yes.
Amazing. He does a great job.
He does a great job.
And I'm glad he reached out to you.
And they have a great team. They've done really well this year, yes.
They did.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of y'all.
Yeah,
like you said, you're just in the community helping. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I love doing that.
So obviously, I'm going to change routes a little bit here.
Okay.
Of course, people are curious. Like Dorie, she was on Netflix. Like what she was on Netflix for? People may have not seen the story or maybe seen a documentary, but you were in a Netflix documentary, and I just wanted you to at least just talk briefly about it. You don't have to go into super deep details, but just talk about what happened, and maybe help us be more informed so we can better know Dorie.
So you better know me?
Yeah.
Well, going through that kind of a stress, and the story is that my ex-husband was forging documents in the house, which I didn't know about, but he was forging documents in the house, and then it got accelerated, and he had people who were becoming aware, and he needed to take care of them because he didn't want to be known. And so for him, not that, he needed, in his mind, he needed to take care of them. So we ended up creating bombs and killing 2 people. And then he did a 3rd bomb that he did for himself. The forensics of that didn't match his story, and that's when when they were looking at this, because it was a huge scare in our valley. People were really scared. They didn't want to take packages because it was through a package in the mail. They didn't want to open packages. They didn't know what to do. It was just a lot of frenzy and a lot of frantic.
Right.
And so when he did the bombing, that he said it was someone else, but then it was him. The forensics didn't match, and that's when he was the one that was focused on by the DA and the police department and stuff, because it's like, this isn't the story he's telling isn't matching what we're seeing in the forensics.
Right. And
going through and having police, having your house searched, having being in court. I mean, this is very intense when you're not. I didn't even go to court for a traffic ticket. When we had there was no experience here. There was nothing here. And going through all of that experience and the intensity of it and the stress of it, and just day by day by day by day. And there was a lot of things that happened that I was a shy person. People they like, really? Yes, I was a shy person. I was very introverted. It created that I had to be more outgoing. And then he went to prison, and we had lost, we had to walk from the house. There's a lot of things that were lost in that. And I was the sole provider, and there wasn't, I got the debt and I got the kids. You know, there was not money that I could have. There was not anything it was pretty much base. Here you are. Now what? Now what are you going to do to provide for your family? And I had a lot of, the universe is balanced. And so I had a lot of insults, a lot of people upset with me, a lot of people blaming me. I had a lot of comments and things that were negative, but then I also had on the other side of it, I had a lot of people helping, a lot of support from the neighbors and friends that really were there. And so I really had a mix of both of those experiences. Felt the love and support, and I definitely felt supported. Force God, whatever the word people use. That's like, I felt supported there, and I really felt like, even though all these things were happening, I was protected, and that my family were protected, even though things were hard.
Yes. But
it created that. It really forced me to ask the question, what do I want? Now I have this place where I need to get a job, or I need to go to work, or what do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? Right. And I didn't have all of the answers. I had one answer, and I started with doing the holistic work that started with the daycare, but then it moved gradually into what do I want to do, and I went and did the Reiki and the massage therapy. But I was given a map. It was really interesting because it was like, now start with this. And then the massage was brought in, and I learned to massage anesthetics, so I was an esthetician. Okay. That was brought in, and I could feel the energy of that, and I could feel the money was there, and the time was there. I mean, you can feel when things are being supported. And then I joined in it with a group practice, and my business partner, she had been doing hypnosis for 10 years, and she hadn't certified with a official organization. She had just learned with another person taught her on their own. And so she needed to have certification, and I needed that. So it took me a while for me to say, yes, I'll do it. She was kind of, I asked her one day, I said, you're going to bug me about this till I do this. And she said, yes, I am. You need to do this. You need to do this. And sometimes people are seeing on your own behalf, because I didn't want to train in hypnosis. I didn't see a reason to do it. And but once I took it, she could see it. But once I did that, I found myself, I'm really good at it. Yes. I love it. And it's like, okay, this was on my map, and that was the next thing. And so thank you for making me do this. Amazing. Thanks for being persistent. And so she and I trained together, and then we had our practice for over 20 years. So each thing is something that you just, for me, there was a map. And so the Avicen that we talked about, or the medical device, the Avicen that you were talking about earlier, it's like that was introduced into my life, and it's like, I have to have this in my office. This is something that's going to help people. And so I just follow the energy of things, and that's where it's developed for me, and I have my map, and I think that's what I'm just following my map. But only part of it shows. You don't get to see the whole thing. You just get to see what's right in front of your toes.
Yes.
And then you take that action, and then the next thing shows up, and then the next thing shows up. So it's really interesting when you start, you know that it's there. Everybody is in the holding of a higher hand. Everybody has a map. Everybody is being supported. We all have our angels or spirit guides or whatever word you want to call that. We have those that are helping us succeed because that's what's wanted for us, and because each of us are here to help people. And so we're being assisted, trained, guided, whatever, however that is for each person to be doing that. And we need to. And I had years ago, I had a woman talking to me, and she says, "Well, I'm feeling really impressed to go talk to my neighbor." And I said, "Well, have you done that?" "Well, no, I don't. I just don't want to do it. I'm feeling really impressed to go talk to." And finally, I asked her. She said, "Did you ever do that?" She said, "No." Finally, the feeling went away. To me, that's really sad. There was someone, that connection. I don't know what would have happened with that connection, but it was there for a while. But if you don't follow it, it will go away.
Good point.
And so you want to be following, and you want to do it in timely. You want to listen to what's happening inside of what you're being guided to do. You want to listen to that. That's your map. And we don't know what's in the end. I didn't know in 1997 where I'd be today. I had no idea. I just knew in that moment that those actions were what I needed to take, and that's all I knew, and that's all I did was take those actions.
Makes sense.
You know, that's all you can do is in what you have in the moment.
Right.
But I know that my map is still unfolding, and I don't know where it will lead me. But I'm pretty happy about what it's leaded me so far. I'm really happy with where my life is right now.
That's amazing. I want to ask Dorie. So, real quick, I do my best to make sure the younger generation can learn something from all of the guests that we bring on the show. Hypnosis, I don't think is something. It's like a special niche, I feel like. But maybe there's someone that's wondering, how do I become a hypnosis? Is there any advice that you have to that person that's listening to the show, like where to get started?
Well, they can start with me because I train.
Yes. Okay.
I certify.
Okay. Let's go.
So
Y'all heard it.
I'm a trainer, so you can do that.
Yes.
There are books out there. There are things, and we need to go to the person that feels right. So it may be that, I mean, I'm here, but maybe they're guided to go to other people, because there are other people in the city and around the world that are training hypnosis.
Like you said, follow that map.
You follow that map, and you find the right person, you find the right one, because sometimes I've had people come in my office and it's like, no, I'm not the right one for them. But I do have other professionals that I can refer to them if they're not the right one. If I'm not the right one for them. And it's really amazing. It's hypnosis. You're using your mind. You're just noticing, what is the story I'm carrying? Do I want to keep that story? Do I want to change the story? How do I change it? And the hypnotic techniques are really simple. They're powerful, but they're simple, and it makes a huge difference. But we're using them every day, whether we're aware of it or not. We're either hypnotizing ourselves or dehypnotizing ourselves by what story we're telling. Is the story you're telling the story you want? Is the story you're telling the story you don't want? And what I've learned over the years is that when I have an energy ad, I'm saying something that feels good, it's uplifting, makes me feel better. I know that I'm telling the truth. If I'm telling myself something that I'm feeling drained, I just want to go to bed and cover my head up with the blanket, I don't want to do anything, it's making me feel bad about myself, I know that is not the truth. And I have to have the courage in that moment to say, okay, this is what I've been believing about myself all these years, and I have to turn that statement around, and that really is the truth of who I am. And it takes courage to do that, and it takes patience, because you have to begin with, it may feel like that affirmation or that statement may feel like it's not the truth initially, and you have to keep saying it, but then you notice, oh, I feel better when I feel an uplift, I'm feeling an uplift. And that's a lot for me, how I learned to tell what is true for me and what isn't. Is that energy add? Is it energy drain? And that was a way I could tell for myself. Am I telling myself the truth, or am I telling myself a lie? Am I telling myself where I need to be going, or where it's just a past story that I used to believe? I used to tell myself that, be the victim, but never was really true. And because I believed it, I maybe took some actions that weren't the best because I was not feeling good about myself.
That makes sense.
So I think we need more hypnotists for sure.
I agree. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. Let me ask, now, when we're talking amongst ourselves, like you were just explaining, are these talks that we should have just like in the mirror, or should we like just be not looking at ourselves and still can have a normal conversation with us? Like, what do you recommend when we're like talking to ourselves?
So there's different things, and I think it's like do everything you can is the answer. One thing you do is you write out. So you read. You're using all your senses. You're going to write out. You're using those muscles that's connecting with your brain when you do not typing necessarily on the computer, but you're writing it out.
Okay.
Write out what that statement. Then you read it to yourself. And then you can record it so you're hearing it. But then you're also looking in the mirror. And it's interesting because you have to only look at one eye. You can't look at two eyes. You have to only look at one eye.
Yes.
Look one eye in the mirror, and you tell yourself in the mirror. And you notice how it feels to say that. And am I believing this? Is this something I'm feeling kind of silly? Am I just saying something that doesn't feel real? Then you keep saying it until it does feel real. That's the way you have to keep saying it until it feels real. But all of the above. You can have someone else tell it to you. You can tell it to them. So you're using the best ways to use all the above.
Yeah.
There is a research that shows that when you are moving your body and doing it, then it hardwires in your brain instead of just it really through this the anatomy of the brain. Mm-hmm. And so walking or listening to it while you're walking or exercising while you're saying your affirmations, those are things that are really good. Moving your arms or your legs. So those things really help it deepen and help it go into the synaptic, the brain. So yes. it actually hardwires. And we want to do that with those things that are actually that are real and right and true. And so there's multiple ways, and maybe one day you don't want to go out walking and doing it, but mm-hmm. you just want to write it out. This is really a self-study. You can see what is it that's really working for me. When I write it out, that makes me feel better. When I say it in the mirror, but when I miss it, I can tell. Or I really need to hear it. It's called Power Script, Life Script, where you're saying those things, then you're recording. I do voice memo. I probably have like 300 things on my voice memo, 300 recordings. Not all of them amazing. Are me about myself, but I do have a number that I can pull it up, and I can just listen to that part. I don't have long pieces on there. I just have short ones, but I have for different aspects, and I'll just listen. I can hear them in the car, and I'm repeating them out loud in the car while I'm driving. So it's important that you do that. But how you do it is really what works for that person. Yes. But all the 5 senses are really important.
That's brilliant. That's great advice. Appreciate you sharing that too. Let me ask you, where can we find you? Like, I'm calling you right now. Like, where can I contact Dorie?
So I have a website. Okay. It's called BeyondCreationInstitute.com. It isn't totally finished. People get on there and go, this is kind of wonky. Yes, it's kind of wonky, but my information's still on there. Okay. I have a business profile that people can leave the reviews and stuff. You can find me on that. And I have a telephone number we can list out. And so you put my name in, I come up, and my phone number comes up. And so you can just Google me. That comes up too.
Is best form for you email? Is that probably the best?
Actually, text is better. I get that. Okay. I get that faster. Yes. I do email. I mean, I can, but it takes a little longer for me to respond to that. But text is great. Phone call. If I can't answer it, I'll just give you a call back. Leave voicemail. I don't return calls that don't have voicemail. So if you don't leave a voicemail, you're not going to get a call back.
Tell them, because that's such important advice.
But texting's great, and email's fine. And I'm on Messenger. There's all kinds of ways. You can find me on Facebook. You can message me on Facebook, and there's different ways. So I'm out on social media.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you for coming by today. You had really, really amazing stories to tell. And I'm sure I'm not even 25% of the way.
There's a lot more stories, yes.
But I definitely want to say thank you. You definitely, you got some great points in there. And I think for the ones that's listening out there, we can all take something home with us today and apply some action so that we can feel better about ourselves and also help the next person next to us. So I really appreciate everything that you said on the show. And you know what? If you want to change your story, call Dorie. Call Dorie. That's right. Call me. Please call me. Is there any other words you want to say for the listeners out there?
I say it's your job to create your life, and go create it. Go build the life that you really love, that you want and love.
I love that. Well, if y'all need help doing that, please be sure to reach out to Dorie. She is here to help you guys, and she has your best interest. So if your map inside your body has been guiding you towards Dorie and you're listening to this is your sign. So definitely go support And we really appreciate you again, Dorie. Thank you for your time. And thank you, UtahMusicRadio.com listeners. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.